getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Nuoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. Doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haight deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's just like chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Hello everybody and welcome to the OGRL Coffee Cup here for round 9 as we approach the midway point in our season. It's time for some darkness and for some rain. We go to the Circuit de la Soft, more commonly known and more famously known as Le Mans, a a 1 hour race to come here later today after the 15-minute qualifying session, which has just begun. And it's myself, Ian Leary, and James Parfitt along with you for this round of the championship. We did the round 7, the sort of this part of the season opener, if you like, round number 7. A while ago, and a few of the races last season as well. We were at BIR 1 week ago, and it's holding up nicely into a good season here. GT3 action all over again, but I don't, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe we've had rain before or darkness before in this season. We've got both of them here today.
Yeah, we've never had them combined. We've had one or the other, but we've never had them combined. So this is going to give a different challenges to these drivers right about now. So let's give you a quick rundown. They are on qualifying. It is 15 minutes. It's going to take them 4.5 minutes to get around the circuit. So we'll cover the scores in the meantime, Mr. O'Leary.
Yep, let's start with AM, where Gary Spencer is currently on top by 8 points ahead of JT Sawyer, who gained 3 of those back last week. It was Joey Maines in third, ahead of Heath Ollinger and Daniel Murray, who rounds out the top 5, who selected the track, by the way, at round 7, in case you want to know. Mike Elliott is in the 6th position, just ahead of James Hillerick, only 14 points further back. Then another 13 back, Scott Carlson, followed by Jose Valentin and Clyde Comfort, the top 10. You can see the rest of them on your screen there to make up the 21 AMs who have started a race this season. Bradley Tidwell is leading the Pro-Ams by just 12 points ahead of Quentin Price, who lost another 3 points in last week's race. Pernod Hanno lost a load more in the last race, and so he's 56 back now ahead of Jonathan Williams. Mark Bolton is in 5th place ahead of Barry Acker, who has a point over Kenny Bourgeois, who has a point over Brian Hoskins. Bit of a bigger gap back to Michael Champlin and William Bailey, rounding out the top 10 of, again, a rather large field of Pro-Ams who have participated in at least one race so far this season. Got 20 pros as well, and at the top of them it's Joshua Herring, who extended his championship lead last week, as he has done for the last 5 races in a row. Bradley Lovings is 22 points behind, with Jeremy Cheney in 3rd. Richard Modric is just ahead of Cole Modric, they're 4th and 5th, with Brian Merriam in 6th place. Bill Backer keeps having issues, I'm afraid, even though he's pretty quick. 7th place for him. Sean Riley is in 8th, but David Benroy, who seemingly wins a lot, but has missed quite a few rounds. And Alan Purser as well, who rounds out the top 10. And then you can see the rest of the top 20 there on your screen. Nicely formed field here tonight, or this afternoon, I should say, as well. 35 of them on the grid here for Le Mans, which is a good start, I think. And we're in for a good race here. The drivers, as you've said, are already out onto the circuit for their first laps, and looking forward to this race because I like Le Mans, even if James doesn't. I like Le Mans, so I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be interesting for sure. It's going to be lively, especially off the start, that's for sure, and especially because it's raining. So there's lots to look forward to here.
Yeah, there is. I'm not a lover of this circuit, right? And I'm not afraid to admit it. I don't like it. It's too long, and it's, well, you'll see. Basically, it's Mulsanne straight for overtakes, into the chicane, next Mulsanne for overtakes, into the chicane, next Mulsanne for overtakes, coming into Mulsanne corner. That run down into Indianapolis, you might see an overtake down into there as well, depending on anybody makes a mistake. Rest of the circuit, probably not so much Porsche curves, Corvette curves, Ford curves. You never know, depending if somebody's brave and want to go 2x2 and side by side. And then coming out the other side, you've got Dunlop, of course, up into Tetra Rouge. Again, not generally an overtaking position unless somebody's made a mistake and they've dived in. I don't know. I don't find this circuit interesting, Mr. O'Leary. I've got to be honest.
I like it, but there we go.
Well, that's fine, as long as you do.
I don't like Sebring, so there you go.
And I like Sebring, so there we go.
Exactly.
But we can both agree that Interlagos is the best circuit out there.
Well, for a championship finale, I'll look. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't think we've had it yet this season, have we? Oh no, we did. We had it last season. Excuse me. For round 5. There you go. I wasn't there. That's why. So there we go. But yeah, it's certainly a different look to the calendar this time round. That should prompt me to talk about it. Really, we've already had Bathurst and VIR. Phillip Island is coming up next week, which will be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Although it could be fairly difficult to overtake. Not as difficult as it's going to be at Imola, which will be round 11, or the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit, where it could be a bit more difficult again. So interesting that we've got a couple of straight line speed circuits on this section of the calendar. We only had one in the first 6 races, but then we've got some real twisty ones towards the end of the season. Of course, the full extent of the weeks 13 to 18 to take us up to Christmas are not yet confirmed, and then we've got another 6 weeks after that up until the middle of February. It's a long calendar, and we're going to see some big gaps in the championship by the end. First lap time coming through, then David Van Rooij goes to the top with a 4:30.2. You can tell how slow the circuit is, by the way, because of the rain. These drivers would be expecting to go sub 4 minute probably at their peak. However, they're going nowhere near that because it is teeming down, and the conditions actually, those lap times there made me realise these conditions are actually worse than I initially thought.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is torrential. I think we can just safely say it's torrential rain. I reckon out of the 30-odd cars, I reckon 10 to 15 of them are not going to get lap times on the board.
Wow. 10 to 15.
Because, because equally, you go off track, your lap's invalidated. You got to drive around again for another 4.5 minutes. Right?
True.
And that's one simple off track, and you've got the dark and you've got the rain. 10 to 15, I'll tell you if I'm wrong there as well. That dude 6IX, good luck fellas, a race I don't mind missing. Okay, so you're gonna have to tell me who you are in the Discord on that one. Ben Groves is in there, the old salty sailor. Hopefully he'll be back for next race. It's one of the best. No, it is not the best track in the world, unless you're talking about Phillip Island.
All I'm hearing is, people agreeing with me. And
they're not agreeing with you. He's talking about Phillip Island, not Le Mans. Hence the terminology. Hope you're back for next week. It is on the best track in the world.
Oh, fine. Yeah. Well, I agree with that too. So, that's fine.
What are you talking? Like, I would not put Phillip Island as the best track in the world. I wouldn't even put it in. I wouldn't even put it in my top 10. In fact, I'd put it ahead of Silverstone. I'm not going to lie. But no, I wouldn't put it in up there, to be blatantly honest.
Okay. Well, there we go. Ryan Merriam's going pretty quickly at the moment, by the way. He's in the final part of the lap at the moment. 2 purple sectors from him. I believe he's in the Porsche curves, maybe. But we'll find out. Oh, he's just on his way out. There's through Corvette. Then Maison Blanche here, which is, oh dear, very twitchy in the Audi. I wouldn't imagine the Audi likes these wet weather conditions very much, but he's clearly making it work here, is Ryan Merriam. He's going to try and get anywhere near Josh Herring and Cole Modric, who are the ones who have gone quick so far. David Van Rooij's time looked good initially, but he's been completely eclipsed by 4 seconds or so there. I think Merriam's going to go third here, but let's wait and see. No, he's going to go a bit higher than that. Over the line he goes, and he goes to the top. There you go. Fastest time so far from Ryan Merriam, and it's not only just the fastest time, it's fastest by some distance, 2.1 seconds.
Yeah, this is going to be very pocket of battled, right? This is going to be the situation. There's going to be front group, then there'll be a middle group, then there'll be a back end group, because everybody is so different. Look at okay, so Clyde Comfort in the hams, right? 4 minutes 57. Bro, that's 33 seconds away from Ryan Merriam on pole. Do you know what I mean? Even the fastest AM is 10 seconds. Who's it? Jose Valentin, 7 seconds away from the fastest pro driver. That's a massive gap. So expect a spread here quite badly. James Hillerick, well, thank you so much for that one, mate. That makes my life a little bit easier. Ben, you're smoking something. We've all have our own preferences. Yeah, do you know what, right? I'd put Daytona, Martinsville and Bristol all in front of Le Mans, and they're just ovals. I would. I do not like it. I'd put ovals in front of Le Mans. I
didn't think you hated it so much.
I do. Watch this.
Funny.
We're for 55 minutes. Watch how spread out this is going to be. To be honest with you, but yeah, I'd put them 4 ovals. I love Dega though, to be blatantly honest, and I love Martinsville, so I definitely would put them up there in my top 10, ahead of definitely this circuit, to be blatantly honest with you.
That's tickled me. That there we go.
Would you?
Damien Hubbardson, by the way, going quickly in the final sector. He's gone purple in the penultimate sector. Don't think he's got a time on the board yet, has
Nope.
he? No, he'll be setting one now. One of your drivers who might not set a time, but I think he's going to get one now if he's stayed on track, that is. Let's hope he has as he makes his way out of the final corner now through the spray, as always, and over the line for Hobbiton. Bradley Lovings goes third. Hobbiton goes second. Well, that's very close to pole. Merriam will have been worried about that. Hobbiton's done with the session, but he's only a 10th behind and only a 10th off pole.
Right. He is at the moment, so fair play to Ryan Merriam and Damien Horvaten. Right, how many drivers did I say? 10 to 15. So far we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Because Sepulveda, nearly 15 drivers have not set times.
14, 13 now because someone else has just gone through and set one. It was Barry Acker who's just gone pole in Pro-Am at the moment, actually. In 6th place. Who else is going quickly out there? Nobody really at the moment. Nobody really improving. And plenty down on pit lane. And let's see how many of those are actually out on the circuit. Might set times. Hey, Follinger over the line there. Does he get a time on the board? Doesn't look like it. Oh, no, he does. Excuse me. Michael Dion also over the line now. And he might move up. Philip de la Cruz is coming through the final corners right now as well. And wonder if he's going to get a time on the board.
Is he?
Yes.
Goes 5th.
There we go.
All right. 2, 4, 6, 8. All right, I weren't far off. Come on, give me a break.
I know, yeah. I was going to say you just maybe slightly over-egged it with the amount of people, but there you go. We can't get them all right. Ryan Merriam, fastest in 3 of the sectors. It's his final chance to take pole here, really. We know that Damien Hobbiton's going to be 3rd here at the very best because he's done with his session. Josh Herring just went a little bit quicker away from our cameras as well. So Ryan Merriam has one chance here to get into the lead of this session and take pole position here at Le Mans. Into the final chicanes now. The 4 chicanes at the very end of the lap. Dives for the first apex there. Cuts off the apex quite narrowly, but he doesn't exactly need an exit. There's another 4 chicane coming up immediately afterwards. Up over the curbs in the Audi. Getting the power down, leaning on the traction control. Can he get pole position as he goes over the line? It is going to be... Yes, he does get there. I think it is the first 23 of the day. A 4:23.0. Actually, it's going to be 1.1 seconds the gap on the line. But Ryan Merriam just about gets pole position in the final few minutes of the session.
Yeah, it does, and you are right. It's the one and only 4:23 of the session. So, one and only 4:23. We can bring you up the gap. You can see the spread across the field on lap times. Look at that. Normally, we're a second down to about 9th or 10th, right? But we're 7, 8, 9, 12 seconds down to 20th. This is going to be very interesting here. Bradley Lovins got about a minute and a half, minute 50 to get over the line at the moment. It's just coming down into Arnage, so we'll see if he's got an improvement on the board as well. Philippe de la Cruz has got a purple. Mike Elliott is just improving on his own time. Let's give Mike a little bit of love as he's going, oh no, he stopped. Never mind, Mike. Back to Bradley Lovins there as well.
I don't know what Elliott's doing, just... sat on the side of the road waiting there, but anyway, that's the end of his session. Lovings is going to make this, by the way. He is going to make it in time, so we could have another challenger for pole coming up here, or at least a driver who can mix it amongst the other 3. Philip de la Cruz is not going to make it, I'm afraid, because the session's going to end pretty much soon after Bradley Lovings comes over the line here into the Porsche curves. Of course, this is the old version of Le Mans where the wall through the Porsche curves there is a lot closer than it is in real life these days. Through Corvette, this is the final of the Porsche curves through Corvette now, where you can use a little bit of that runoff on the outside, but not too much. You can't afford an off-track here in qualifying, of course, otherwise your lap will be invalidated. Bradley Lovings here, purple in the penultimate sector into the long final sector, at the longest sector on the circuit, where you really can make or break your lap time. He needs to gain nearly 3 seconds to even make up a single place here, Bradley Lovings. Can he do it out of the final corner using that Porsche traction? He might be in amongst it, but I think he'll still be 4th. Over the line, no, he's 2nd. He jumps up to 2nd place. Great late lap from Bradley Lovings, and I think he knows how impressive that was. He celebrates over the line, and he'll be on the front row.
Wow, Bradley Lovins putting it in right at the end. Fair play, 4:24. Still a second off Ryan Merriam, mind you, but he went quicker than he has ever been. So fair play to him. Yeah, well impressed. Good job there, bud.
Very, very good lap indeed from Bradley Lovins, who will second place. We'll go through the grid entirely on its in a moment, but
no, we won't.
No.
5-minute warm-up.
We got warm-up first. Sorry, I forgot about warm-up.
Yeah.
So we'll
every week, buddy.
Well, I know, yeah, but I'm not here every week, so I forget. And I also sleep in between times, so I also forget. So yeah, we do have the 5 minutes of warm-up to go through first before the 55-minute race as it is. So yeah, everyone will get the chance to go out onto the circuit and be in amongst other cars again. I know I say this every week, but it is you'd be surprised how much of a shock to the system it is to suddenly see people around you again after driving on your own in qualifying. Maybe less so at a circuit like this where things get more spread out because it's so long, but actually on the smaller circuits especially, it's a real shock to the system to have everybody around you all over again.
Yeah, it is, and I think a lot of these guys need to go out and obviously have a go on that one to see. If you haven't set a time in quali, I would expect you to be out on track. I think that's fair, right? Because they've missed out, you know, some haven't gone out at all, some didn't bother, and others just sat there and chilled and whatever else. If this is a track that is rain-soaked in the dark, I would be out on the circuit. I don't often go out in warm-up, but then again, I don't often drive in the rain because I'm used to going around in a circle. But I would try and get out on the track at least.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. This is on board with Paul Modric. It's a big good chance actually to stay on board here for a second, just see how much they are fighting with the conditions here. And something that is a disadvantage to the likes of Modric here and the other McLaren drivers, they won't really know very much about the McLaren in the rain, because generally when you're trying a new car, you try it in the dry and you sort of forget about the rain until you actually get thrown into a situation like this. And so Modric might well be learning quite a lot right now about his car.
Yeah, I think that's the thing as well. And do you know the other thing that I think this is going to develop into? And I generally believe this is going to be a battle of survival. Who survives? And I don't mean that as in we would look at, I don't know, Interlagos where it's bone dry and everything else. We wouldn't really put survival there. But here, in the wet, in the dark, who will survive? If you survive, you are likely to score points. None of these are Max Verstappen. None of these are robots. None of these are AIs, right? So they're all going to, at some point, maybe not Ryan Merriam and the top couple, but everybody else is going to make a mistake at some point. It's how bad that mistake is. Is it a full spin in the barrier? Is it going into one of the chicanes and it all just goes Pete Tong? Somebody somewhere is going to be a dark horse and gain, I don't know. I reckon you could, if it's somebody towards the back end, some of the faster guys at the back end, I reckon they could be a 25 position gain here easily. Look at that. See? Straight in front of you. There you go. Mistake.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think even the leaders are going to make even a small mistake as well. It depends what you're going to count as a proper mistake. Like, you know, missing an apex, technically a mistake, but, you know, it's not really anything major. So, yeah, it depends what you count as, first of all. But I actually believe everyone's going to make a mistake at some point in this race, whether it be a missed apex or a full-on crash. Of course, less full-on crashes and more missed apexes than most. But even so, you've got to be capitalising on that, and you've got to try and minimise that as much as possible as well. One thing I've noticed from running on board with the McLaren, by the way, just to go back to the original point that I was wondering about, and the main reason why watching this on board so intently, even though it's only a warm-up session, notice how late, I don't know if it's just Modric or whether this car is the way it's driven, watch how late he shifts up. He lets it go all the way, he lets all the lights light up, then it goes blue and red, and then he waits a second longer, and then he shifts up. So I don't know whether he's just doing that because this is a sprint race and he can afford to murder the engine, but those lights to me suggest that he's revving it very, very high.
Yeah, I think so. But then again, I think, just going to turn the volume up on my speaker so I can hear what he's doing. I think sometimes, though, certain cars do have a high rev range where you can rev them over. And maybe the McLaren is just one of them cars that you can do that to, I guess.
Yeah, Yeah, it's true. I don't know whether it's the way it's supposed to be driven or whether it is Modric who's really revving it out. And one other thing from the onboard as well, the fact that you cannot see anything when you're in the spray. I mean,
No.
I'm really struggling here, and he's practicing pit entry here, which is probably a good idea because that happens. The driver in front of him going straight off, and it's not an easy pit lane to get onto, Lamont, and everyone will have to do it.
This is the thing. I can't sit here and disagree with you because you're not telling me anything I don't already know. You are right. This pit lane is horrendous, and it matches the circuit.
Nice.
Look, I don't know. I just Danny Le Mans, all right. Put me at Interlagos every single week, and I'm happy.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the grid before we get going. It's 35 of them, I believe, on this one, and here's how they line up. Ryan Merriam on the front, 1 second ahead of Bradley Lovings in that qualifying session. Josh Herring and Demian Hoverton, the first of the non-North Americans in the order. Philip de la Cruz and Cole Modric are on row 3 ahead of Barry Acker and Quentin Price, the top 2 in Pro-Am. David Van Rooij, who's won plenty of races this season, is in, 9th place, I think, ahead of Michael Dion. Bill Backer and Jonathan Williams line up 11th and 12th. 13th is Kenny Bourgeois with Alan Purser, with Jose Valentin in 15th. The Am pole sitter ahead of Bradley Tidwell. Brian LaPratte and Jeremy Cheney round out row 9, with JT Sawyer and Perno Hanno rounding out the top 20. Points leader in the Am's Gary Spencer is 21st ahead of Heath Hollander. It's Mike Elliott and Cameron Risley, one of the McLarens, on row 12. Scott Carlson and Cody Bont round out an all-Am row 13 ahead of Clyde Comfer and Rick Modric, who didn't set a time in that qualifying session. Neither did Justin Cock or Jeff Sepulveda. They round out the top 30. Neither did George Parfitt, Kenneth Clodden, Dan Survac, Curtis Matthews or Brian Hoskins, all of whom start from the back of the field. And in the case of Kenneth Clodden, he's starting from the pit lane, and Brian Hoskins doesn't seem to be starting at all. So we might well get 34 away here, but we'll just wait and see. The drivers are making their way down towards the Porsche curves, then they're off for their formation lap. It's the equivalent time for formation lap, but because this circuit's so long, we don't have to do all the lap. We're just going to do the final sector. Ryan Merriam is going to have a big chance here to control the race from the very front in the Audi. Once again, I'll express my surprise that the Audi is so strong here in the rain and here at Le Mans, because it's somewhat past its best these days. But Merriam is a very quick driver, and he's proved that here with this performance. So I wonder how he's going to get on here at the start of this race. And if he gets away well, he's going to be difficult to beat.
Yeah, he definitely will be there as well. You saw the gap in the times, so it'll be interesting to see what goes on and how all of these cars get through. Kenneth Clodden is in the pits. Brian Hoskins does not look like he's on the grid, so be aware on that one for this circuit. Rain and dark just doesn't suit some people, so we'll see what goes on here. As they're going to be going over the line fairly shortly.
They will be. And another important race in the OGRL Coffee Cup to come. Of course, everyone gets a drop week per one of these seasons, and so you can get away with the race, but if you've already had one, then you could be in a little bit of trouble today if you're not enjoying the conditions. We'll keep an eye on that and keep an eye on the championship implications throughout the day, as the pole sitter is not anywhere near the front of the championship. Ryan Merriam currently down in 6th place. Josh Herring is starting on the 2nd row as the overall points leader in the pro class. Can Bradley Lovings begin to just close in that margin here today, or will it be another day for Herring to extend his lead? The safety car pulls in at the very last moment, and the final chicane will now be in the control of Ryan Merriam, who might just go immediately here. He pulls to the inside line, leaves some space for Lovings, but immediately gets on to the power as the OGRL Coffee Cup from Le Mans gets underway into the spray and into the darkness of the night. Over in towards turn 1 for Ryan Merriam, who tiptoes his way on these cold tyres, making sure everybody gets through cleanly. Bradley Loving to be second, then it'll be Hoverton. It will be Herring, De La Cruz and Modric, the top 6. Barry Acker's lost a bit of time on this start here in the Pro-Am lead as he tries to hold on to that position. Devin Roy has been overtaken by Quentin Price for 9th place on the way in towards the first chicane as well. I'm afraid the pole sitter in Am has already gone off. Jose Valentin dropping way down the field after going off at the first chicane. A disaster for the Am pole sitter in this race.
Yeah, that was, unfortunately, it looks like Justin Koch, Jose Valentin, Bradley Tidwell has all been off in the opening sectors of this race. And this is what we said. It's all about survival. Survive, survive, survive. And that's what we're going to have here. Let's have a look and see how much these guys can actually see. And I'm probably guessing it's going to be not a lot in the car behind at this moment in time. Well, there you go. He's a little bit closer, so he's out of the spray as such that's hitting. But as he comes away, you can see it just gets less and less and less and less, and now we can't really see anything. So for Bradley Lovins here, it's going to be making sure you know where your braking point is, because this is going to be the first time that carnage could happen in behind you, and I think that's exactly what we're likely to see with a few of these at the back. You see all of them at the moment, 2, 3 wide coming down here, and it is all about surviving this race. That is literally what it's going to be here as he's going to go through Dan Svorak. Oh, no.
Camerously with him, contact. Oh, can they survive? But I don't know how. That was very, very close indeed through the first Mulsanne chicane, and somehow they survive. There's a car pulling off to the left-hand side there, almost as if to cool the tyres down or to give some space to others. Goodness me, they all get away with it though. Herrin very close to De La Cruz again here, by the way. De La Cruz overtook him on the way towards the first Mulsanne chicane. On the way out of the second one, the points leader is looking to make a move on Philip De La Cruz, and there he goes down the inside, or down the outside, excuse me, in the Porsche. It must have been a bad run for the McLaren out of the second Mulsanne chicane as they wait for Mulsanne corner itself. Corner that's always been here at Le Mans in every single edition of this circuit, right the way back to the 1930s. Mulsanne corner has been the one constant, and no way, which goes towards India, which hasn't always been here. Oh, off in the background, into the gravel for someone. It was Jonathan Williams from third in Pro-Am.
Yeah, there's been, you can have a quick replay run if you want. This is Justin Koch's scenario, and we can see what happened to him. He's just coming in, well, far quicker than what he should be, and you can see somebody's already facing there. I think Justin is more trying to stay out of the way of a lot of carnage. David Van Roy has also had a moment in that Mustang, so he runs off the side of the circuit. Is that going to be a spin? It is for Van Roy, straight into the barrier in that Mustang, unfortunately, as well. George Parfitt has had an incident. Whoa, that was a little bit weird.
That was a bit weird. It's very unusual to break traction around the right-hander there. That's seemingly what happened. Yeah, he just broke traction. Yeah. Wow. It's especially weird. But I suppose if you're going wide like that, because he was side by side, then you would be putting a bit more steering lock in than normal, and that might just send you around. Although it shows you how on edge these cars are. Jeff Sepulveda got his braking zone wrong for the first chicane. Oh, he could have just cut the corner, but he decided to come back onto the circuit again. Here is Kenny Bourgeois into the second chicane. I presume we're going to see this a lot. Oh, maybe not that. Someone else grabbed the wall there as well, just behind him in the not Lexus, whoever that is. Hit the inside wall as well. This is Pernod Hanaut, who had a bad week last week, unfortunately, and that's a bad start to this week.
Yeah, he goes off. There's so much. I could do the opening lap just on replays at the moment, guys. I'm not being rude. I'm not going to. But there's a lot of people. This is coming in down into Indianapolis. Gets that all wrong. Cameron Risley. I think we might have just caught. No. Whoa. That's going down a straight.
Well, he would have been hitting the brakes, I suppose, which would have been the reason why. But that's,
watch this.
This is for the lead, was it? Ryan Merriam.
Into a puddle.
Oh, Merriam hit the puddle there at the front of the race. On the very front of the race, Bradley Lovings is now in the lead because Ryan Merriam got into a puddle on the way to the final chicane and spun around. But it's not Lovings. It is Damien Hoverton, excuse me. Damien Hoverton leads the race ahead of Bradley Lovings. What a remarkable turnaround as the Pulsar is down to 8th place.
Yeah, Hoverton there out in front, Loving in second at this moment. This is the situation in the standings. Horvath leading the pros, Acker leading the pro-ams, and Leprat leading the AMs. So yeah, it's been kind of as expected. Random incidents as well. Ryan Merriam was on a straight. He hit the puddle around. He went. For me, the weirdest one though has got to be what happened to Cameron Risley. He just looks like he was driving straight, aquaplaned off, and that was the end of that. So yeah, who's next? I don't know. You pick one in YouTube chat and I'll tell you if you're right or not, because at the moment Pernell Hanley is having another one. Jonathan Williams has had to jump back to the pits as well. So there's a lot of, oh, there you go, Cody Bonte has had a crash at the same time. So yeah, there's a lot of people.
Yeah, we'll have to look at a lot of replays throughout this race, I suspect, to really catch what's going on, because it's impossible for us to catch it all at once. The group for 22nd place, by the way, looks very, very close together, and the reason why it's significant, Jose Valentin is getting to the front of it. That is Mike Elliott being overtaken by JT Sawyer. That's for second in AM, but the pole sitter in AM spun round on that opening lap. We saw him spun off the road, didn't see how, but we saw him spun off at the first chicane. From the pole in AM, he's already back into the top 10 in the class, and he's actually driving pretty well considering he's recovering from an issue. He was down at the very back of the field after the first chicane. He's already 10 places up from where he was under the Dunlop Bridge on the opening lap.
Yeah, great job for recovery from Jose Valentin there. Williams is in. Mike Elliott and JT Sawyer are side by side at this moment. Well, they were there. Mike just in front of JT. That's going to cause a bottleneck up behind. This is a Corvette, McLaren, Corvette, Porsche, McLaren, and Kenny Bourgeois in the Ford Mustang. So yeah, all of this action kind of taking place at the moment throughout this field. But Damien Horvath out in front by 1.8 seconds currently on this one. And Kenneth Cloddin is next. Bill Backer has jumped back into the pit lane. And Alan Purser, who is in that Lexus livery, he has been off the side of the circuit as well.
Yeah, we saw him off when Kenny Bourgeois went off, but he's gone off again in the race. So still very busy out on the circuit. This is a separate incident for Alan Purser down to the Mulsanne corner, and he can't quite get it stopped in time. I'm not sure whether he intentionally cut the corner there and ran off into the gravel, but he may have done, just to avoid the wall. Oh, this is awkward for Cody Bonte.
This is how it happened. Sorry, I was a bit further ahead. There's a puddle there. Straight in the puddle.
No, and it's a light puddle, but not the power. And spun around. Got to be careful sat in the middle of the road like that, and thankfully he gets out of the way. So unfortunately he drops down the field. This is the start of lap 2, by the way, for Jonathan Williams. Oh, my goodness. Whoever that was very, very lucky indeed, because Jonathan Williams very nearly went straight into the back of them. Pernell Hanley was just up ahead, was he?
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
He gets very, very... I think Pernell is on the sausage curb. And that slow, awkward spin there. Kenneth Cloddin again, Scott Parson, Carlson, and Clive Comfort. Whatever this was for Kenneth sent him straight back.
Oh, goodness.
Whoa.
It's on the way towards Indianapolis.
What's that happened?
It's a puddle on the inside here. Just look at the right-hand side. There's a puddle that creates there on the curb. There it is.
Oh.
Smashed it into it. Oh, he's already got damage to the rear end anyway. Look at that. You just saw it in the light. Oh, as Scott Carlson re-emerges from the gravel at Indianapolis. He's trying to get it stopped here, but he grabs the puddle. Is he slowing down enough? No, not quite. Oh, he's been saved by the gravel, thankfully, but it's very close to contact with the wall. And we end another lap with Damien Hoverton still leading. Look at this, Ryan Merriam trying to make up those places, trying to get back into the lead again. He's up to 7th. It's only 1 place higher than he was this time last lap as he recovered from his spin going into the final chicanes. But that just shows you this is going to be a race where almost everybody makes an error. And we're going to see how they recover from it. Ryan Merriam with one of the biggest drops to now try and recover from.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Curtis Matthews, he's doing a lot wrong there. One of them, taking the curb. Leave the curbs alone. It is raining. You can't touch them. They are. You might as well be Bambi on ice at that moment in time. Do not touch the curbs. Jeff Sepulveda is higher as well. I'm doing this far off board, guys, because we can't actually see if we get close in. So there you go. As Sepulveda goes round, Justin Koch has just had a moment as well here. That's coming after the start finish. That's going to snap to the right. There we go. And then, unfortunately, puddle, and lucky enough, the depth for the gravel does save him. But, yeah, a lot happening here, Mr. O'Leary. Gary Spencer was Dan Svorak in front of us on that one. We've got Kenny Bourgeois here. He's trying to recover, but he's got Jose Valentin, who's also trying to recover, coming through the field at the same time, with Panel Hanalei also recovering after having a bit of a mare. There's only about 3 or 4 drivers that are actually near anyone, and at the moment, this battle in the Pro-Ams with Barry Acker and Quinton Price is probably the leading battle that are the closest at this moment in time.
Yeah, it's very spread out now, but there are still battles going on, including the one for the Pro-Am. I was just thinking about that. It's probably not worth saying recovering from such and such incident, because a lot of people are now, so I might drop that phrase. The Pratt dropping a couple of places here as well, by the way. The AM leader has dropped a couple of places. Is JT Sawyer anywhere near him? He certainly is, and he might well take the lead. Let's see how it happened. Brian LaPratt just getting on the power here out of the second Mulsanne chicane. This is pretty difficult in the dry because of the bump there, and he's grabbed the wall as well. JT Sawyer is surely going to be in the lead. That's Alan Purser who goes through, and look at this, JT Sawyer just trying to get on the power, squeeze on the power himself. Where is LaPratt? There he is on the left-hand side, and he's going to go sailing past him.
Yeah, JT Sawyer taking the lead in the AMS. So that's back to live pictures. Quinton Price must have made a mistake because he's now 1.4 seconds back away from Acker. Svorak is in there, but he's got Brian LaPratt in the mix with Gary Spencer and Mike Elliott. So it's battles down the bottom end of the field there that is leading the charge at the moment. Kenny for Greta Bourgeois there as well. Please tell me your wife, because I end up getting this wrong. Wife, sister or mum, which one is it going to be on that one? Let us know, because I do get that wrong. Kenny is recovering. He's down in 22nd at the moment. As we say, pretty much the bottom, I don't know, half the, 3/4 of the field are recovering about now.
Yeah, pretty much. Even Mariam is 7th, and he's still had an issue in recovering, so there you go. And we can just say it for everybody, pretty much. That's one of the biggest groups in the field, by the way. This is another one that battles for the highest position in the race. Josh Herring versus Philip de la Cruz in 4th position. These two were battling it out in qualifying with 2 very similar times, but what about in the race? Into the 4 chicanes they go through the first one, and then into the second, trying to avoid the curves, but it's easier said than done. Oh, look at the snap as well.
Jesus.
Just because you've got traction control doesn't mean you're saved from having traction issues, and that was Philip de la Cruz really struggling to get the power down there. He lost about a second compared to the Porsche, which is really good on traction.
Do you know what's worse? He can't see where the puddles are. So he's relying on just going for it, isn't he? Because he's got so much spray in his boat race, he don't know where the puddle is. And as we know, there's puddles there all the way down the left-hand side. We know there's puddles further down as well. You're running down a hill, so you know the puddles should be round about on the right. There they are, start developing there as well. Now through the left-hander, we're going uphill, so all the puddles should be this way. Yay. He's fighting. He is fighting with that car at a big rate of knots.
Yes, and there's one on the inside here, although they'll all know about that now, to go wide at Tete Rouge, and you don't really want to be on the outside curve either. There's no puddle there, but it's very slippery because it's a painted surface at this level of moisture. It will be very slippy no matter what you do with it. It spreads out, though, this battle for 3rd place. So I just wonder whether De La Cruz is a bit better in that high-speed final sector, where the Porsche curves are, for example, Indianapolis as well, than the Porsche, because the McLaren's sort of lower to the ground and quite planted through those high-speed corners. But in the traction zones, there's no car better than the Porsche that is so good in the rain. Even though the engine isn't over the rear wheels anymore, which used to give it really good traction, it does still have that Porsche DNA that makes it very strong in wet weather conditions.
Yeah, you saw Philippe de la Cruz just get it all a little bit wrong there as well. He had a bit of slide at the back. He's now lost 1.97 seconds, is Philippe de la Cruz, and that was all from siding. So, okay, update. Mike Elliott, incident. Jonathan Williams, Scott Carlson, Justin Koch there. Mike Elliott's crashed, unfortunately, again. So, yeah, not good. But JT Sawyer and also Dan Svorak are having a battle on that run down into the first Mulsanne quarter, into the first chicane, I should say.
We'll have some more replays in a moment. The battle for the lead in Pro-Am is on here, by the way. Barry Acker's been caught by Quentin Price for 8th position as it is now. The Porsche versus McLaren battle. Careful on those puddles. Quentin Price, goodness me. Well, I wouldn't want to be out there, but anyway, he's decided he doesn't mind, and so he'll get into the slipstream again. But look at him, he is 9 tenths behind all over again here, and he's at that distance, you were talking about it earlier, where he actually can't see anything. If you're really, really close to the driver ahead, then you can actually see them and just follow them, but at this distance, you can't see anything.
Do you know the weirdest thing is, I'm wondering whether or not that cone is causing people to know where their braking point is. There is a cone on the inside coming into the corner, and we'll watch it here with David Van Rooij. Oh, he's another one trying to come back. But you'll see a random cone, and when they hit that cone in the middle of the road, and there it is, there, look, there's the cone. So they know to turn and start braking, which is what they do. So I'm wondering if that cone is acting more of a braking marker for some of them than trying to find your braking point in the dark, of course. Maybe, I know it's random, but it might be. I don't know.
It's quite well placed for being a braking marker. LaPrat and Spencer, by the way, in the background are battling it out. That's for second place in AM. They are through the spray, if you can see them. I think they're side by side here, are they? No, not quite. That's just the foreshortening of the distance. As well, it's quite difficult to go side by side through the kinks towards Indianapolis because you're so on edge in these cars. Look at this is unbelievable.
Can't see
where he's going at all. Him moving to the right hand side just to try and get some visibility so he knows where he is, so he knows just how long he's got to go until Indianapolis, and he knows what to do. Braking, very difficult to turn and brake at the same time, of course. You've got to get it all in either before Indianapolis or just afterwards. You can't really do it through the corner into Arnage. That was pretty early on the brakes from LaPrat there, and so here goes Spencer. Is he going to have the chance here? He does have a good exit, short shifting a little bit to try and use the power. Short shifting can even work when you've got traction control like this, and Gary Spencer looking to use it on the way towards the Porsche curves, although there's more kinks here. I think he just lifted off slightly so that he didn't spin wildly. I think Brian LaPrat is going to survive another day here into the Porsche curves.
Yeah, you can see that this is just all memory. This is just all placement memory of trying to find something as a marker, because they can't see anything. Let's be real about it. You know, this is what they're seeing. We are on board with the driver on the cockpit. This is what he is seeing, and it's very, very minimal at best. You know, you're relying on things that you've just picked out as a marker, and that's it. Jeff Sepulveda has had an incident. Justin Koch is unfortunately jumped back to the pits as well here, and I feel, as I said before, you know, you've got to survive this circuit, and there's a few that have not survived at this moment in time. David Van Rooij has entered into the pit lane, so he might drop down the order a little bit, but yeah, this is treacherous conditions.
Look at this battle for the lead now as they all gain a place from David Van Rooij. They are going to be battling for 14th now, but it's still the AM lead. JT Sawyer at the moment is taking a couple of points back from Gary Spencer. The two of them are at the top of the AM Championship, of course, and 2 points is about a quarter of the current gap that Spencer holds. Meanwhile, side by side between Michael Dion and Cole Modric as well, who's going backwards. Ryan Merriam will be looking to gain both of these places pretty shortly, but he's not going to get both of them here. He's on the outside, and he'll have to brake early. So Michael Dion's up to 5th place then in that pass. He's made up quite a few places so far.
Yeah, Michael Dion currently up 5 on the board. Remember I said 20 place gain? Dan Svorak, 20 places gained at this moment in time for Dan. You can see that they're sitting in 13th for the moment. Merriam is trying to pull out and actually see something. That McLaren in front of Cole Modric is trying to cover us off here. Surely this has got to be Merriam's corner if he can make this work. Can he get that car stopped? That's going to be the question. He's on the brakes later than Modric. He's going down through the gears. He just about, I think, makes it through. Modric is there, but yeah, Brian Merriam does make it through on that one.
Right, that was pretty difficult and painful. Through the second most chicane they go, and then on to the straight. You'd think Merriam will be clear now of Modric, who will struggle to stay with the pole sitter now, although you never know. We're over 20 minutes into this race, by the way, and Gary Spencer's lost another place to Jose Valentin, and all of a sudden the pole sitter is right back in the mix again for the AM lead. We saw him drop down the field earlier on the very first lap of this race, the very first corner indeed, but now he is in the mix, and he's currently third, watching the battle between first and second.
Yeah, and again, he's probably not rushing this situation, I think, for Jose Valentin. He knows what happened when he rushed it, and unfortunately it all went a little bit wrong for him on that one. But it's Brian LaPrat in there with JT Sawyer fighting it out. This is what Brian's seeing at this moment in time aboard that McLaren 720S there. So he's not really seeing a lot. He's trying to pull out. Jose Valentin he's far enough back where he could probably pick a brake marker. It's when they're too far, like now. He can't really see a lot. You've either got to be really close or almost that 2-second rule there.
Oh, sorry, the headlights.
That's
really,
all right.
I thought the headlights meant that someone was going to plough into the back of him there. I was fearing for everyone there, but there we go. It's okay. Looking up the inside of LaPrat here, he needs to be careful of getting up on that curve too much, otherwise you'll spin around. Look at him weaving around to try and find some visibility. Normally they're trying desperately to stay tucked in to the car ahead of them just so they can get some slipstream, but they just want to see where they're going.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the... Jose Valentin, they're getting very, very close to Brian LaPrat. I think this is probably one of the worst track conditions I've seen here ever in a race, I think, on this one. This is just treacherous at best. If this continues, the rain is going to be, the track is going to be like, well, just a swimming pool pretty much on that one.
Yeah, it is. It's time to get your snorkel out, I think, because this is very moist indeed out on the circuit. Top four are locked together still in AM here, although Gary Spencer is losing ground. He's losing 3 points as well as things stand to JT Sawyer in just an 8-point lead is what he's got. So it's a pretty important battle as far as these things go. And of course, something else we haven't really factored into this race just yet, although David Van Roy has, is that everybody likely is going to have to come down pit lane at some point. So that will mix things up even further.
Yeah, well, there is a pit stop involved for everyone. David Van Roy is the first car on the racetrack to have taken their pit stop, and he's sitting in 27th at this moment in time. So David Van Roy there, but you can see we've lost Coke, Backer, Parfitt, Hoskins, who didn't start. Clodden and Carlson are quite far back. Nobody really should go a lap down currently if they go into the pit lane. The lap's so long, it should allow them to get in and get back out again. Brian LaPrat, Jose Valentin, Gary Spencer, Purses in, Svorak's into the pit lane as well.
Yep, so none of these guys from this battle in AM, but plenty of drivers elsewhere. Jose Valentin gets up into second place. There he is, ahead of Brian LaPrat now. He was leading at a time earlier on, but no longer. Slides his way down the S's here before Tetrarouge and in the braking zone. Really struggling to fight with the car here, trying to straighten the exit a little bit so he can more easily deal with the rise through the right-hander there, now in towards Tetrarouge. Just staying wide of the inside curve, but you don't want to get too far on the outside curve, otherwise you'll be in trouble. It was okay that time round, and Gary Spencer will be very close behind LaPrat here. I'm not sure if he's already side by side with him, is he? On the way towards the kink, he is. This is quite risky. The right-handed kink is not an easy corner flat out anymore because of the puddles and because of the rain, but it looks like Gary Spencer might be through here.
Yeah, he's going to get that job done, I think. Here he is. He cuts back in front of Leprat as well. Covers Leprat in spray, who's not going to love that. How's he going to cope coming into the braking zone? He backs away. Leprat couldn't really see a lot. He's just lost about half a second going in and out of that corner. So Brian Leprat there as well. But it's great to see the AMs. It just goes to show how much this is affected a lot of people, because these four are ahead of pros and pro-ams. So, you know, for the AMs, it's a great job.
Yep, they've done fantastic. And it's what you said earlier on, it's about survival here. You know, JT Sawyer hasn't had any problems so far today. He's not spun once. I know Valentin has, and Leprat has as well. But for the most part, JT Sawyer has not had any problems here. It just shows you where survival can get you, even though JT Sawyer's not the quickest driver on this circuit by any means. Meanwhile, we've still got Hoverton leading, Damien Hoverton leading the race ahead of Bradley Lubbings, but they're right together now for the lead, as well as Josh Herring and Philip de la Cruz, who are battling over third place as well.
Yeah, it looks like Curtis Matthews has had a moment. Clyde Comfort, Scott Carlson is on the list of injuries by the looks of it as well. Clyde Comfort looks like he's had a couple of times, so we won't compound that young man's misery. Clearly not loving the rain and dark in Le Mans, to be blatantly honest with you. But the top four, yeah, they were literally, the top two were close together, then the next two were close together, and just as we focus on them, they drop out to about a second, give or take, nearly each. So unfortunately for them, they're now a second back here.
They are, which is not great. Through the Porsche curves they go. Now, who's going to try and do something a little bit different on strategy? The problem with these four is that it's a huge slide. That's a huge slide for Philip de la Cruz, and somehow he saves it. Well, it's a bit of a miracle that he has, because he was sliding through Corvette there like you wouldn't believe. Into the pit lane, surely he's going to go, and yes, he does. He knows his exit was bad, and so thinks, I've got to get in, and he's cut the corner as well, I think, at the pit lane, unless I couldn't quite do that properly through the darkness. Has to slow down before he gets into pit lane itself. But de la Cruz will be looking forward to his pit stop now, just to calm down for a second.
Yeah, you see here, this is the entry. That's too quick. He does miss it and goes off there, unfortunately, on that one. Heath Ollinger looks like he's had a moment. Ryan Merriam's in the pits. Cole Modric is in the pits. Jose Valentin is tucked up behind JT Sawyer here as well. So yeah, we'll see how this AM battle got on. They have been providing a lot of the action. Alan Purser is down, well, we'll say he's behind the Mike Elliott Corvette. He's in that Lexus liveried BMW, of course, and he's trying to, I would say, come back through the field, but pretty much, as we say, he's pit stopped and is now making his way forward.
He can't wait for the Lexus, can he, to be Eastern Iron Racing. He's going to. I think he's going to drive it every single day when it comes out, or if
Probably.
Indeed, I don't even know. I don't know if it's coming.
I haven't heard it saying it's coming, mate. To be blatantly honest.
I just think that there's so many GT3s now in now. Which ones are left that are not the Lexus? You know what I mean? I don't know if there are any more to be added that are not the Lexus, unless I'm forgetting some obvious ones. But yeah, I would have thought it's not too far away. But you know, it could be. Into turn one again for the AM leaders. JT Sawyer just can't make a mistake here, and Jose Valentin is going to have to make this work in well, the old-fashioned way. He's going to have to overtake him.
He is on that one. Aston Martin, says Ben Groves in YouTube chat.
Shout.
Or they could just do a whole new TCR section, you know, because like 12 GT3s ain't enough, right?
Yeah, well, we do have a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, you think?
Oh, hello. Down the inside for Valentin. No, it's very difficult to do anything there with the inside puddle so large, and that was Sawyer going very wide and through the slightly more wet, even wetter period of the at the outside of the circuit. Valentin weaving around to try and get a bit of visibility, and Leprat trying to do the same. It's quite remarkable, isn't it, to see them weaving around so much to do to get visibility. You know, these conditions almost make you feel like this might even be called off, to be honest, this race, if it was in real life.
Yeah, I think there would have been some red flags, wouldn't there? Let's be real about it, after people just absolutely careering into each other. But the interesting thing is the rain's still coming down, but it looks like it's getting a little bit lighter, right? And I say that in conjunction to of what it was like earlier on. It was literally steaming down. That's a rubbish picture. That ain't going to show us, unfortunately, the rain on that, because we're tucked up right behind JT Sawyer. Literally, I think that's Sawyer coming together at a rapid rate of knots here. He's relying on Valentin to make sure he gets this right. Valentin does pull out. Is he going to be able to make this through into the run on the second chicane? He's going to have the inside. This is a left-right chicane. Oh, Sawyer, get it stopped. Oh, he did get it stopped there as well. JT Sawyer, very late on the brakes.
Valentin was very conservative on the entry there, but he was looking for the exit, and he's absolutely got it. He's got the better line. He's up on the left-hand side, though. He's still on the circuit, of course. He'll be okay, but he just doesn't want to hit a puddle. That's what I'm worried about. He should power past, though, in the Porsche now with the traction that I was talking about earlier on. He's got the position, and he's got the AM lead again. Down into the braking zone at Mulsanne Corner. Can he get it stopped in time down here? They both sent it in, and now we'll get the traction. Sawyer will go into the puddle on the outside, and here he goes. Jose Valentin is away and clear, and he has the lead again in the AM class.
Yeah, he's got through after his opening lap drama for Jose Valentin. He has made it all the way back to the lead in the AM, so a great job from him. You can see now on the interval gaps as they come up on the left-hand side there, everybody is fairly spread out, and no one really is in a mix of a battle. Lovins is with Horvath, but Horvath has just gone into the pit lane, and whether or not Lovins is going to follow him in, which he isn't. Herron's also got in. Is Michael Dion going to follow him in? He does. So Bradley Lovins clearly feels he's got one more lap in that Porsche here, and he's got an open track, so why wouldn't he go again if he can afford to? Ryan Merriam is catching Bradley Tidwell. Sporak's looks like he's been off track. Dela Cruz looks like they may have been off track as well. I love TCR, says Ben Groves. Yeah, it'd be better if we actually got some new ones rather than 13 GT3s, because they're the most important thing in the whole entire world. There are other series, but we won't go into that too much on that one. Clearly there are priorities, and one of them is the GT3s and the money-making machine that it is.
Yes, indeed.
Not that I'm salty at all.
Yeah, it would be nice for more TCRs, but they don't seem to be focusing on them really. Ryan Merriam has already made his pit stop, by the way, and so he's going to watch Bradley Tidwell make his way in. Huberton's already out onto the circuit again then. Herring as well. Where's Michael Dion here? He going to be passed by Merriam? Looks like he is. Yep, Merriam's going to be up into 5th position then. Ahead of Dion. He'll fly through on the bottom of your screen in a moment. There he is.
There he
is. 5th place. So Jeremy Shaney's going to drop behind him after he makes his pit stop. That much is clear, but Bradley Lovings, it won't, of course. So Merriam will be back into 4th place at the end of all this, which I think is a decent recovery so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is nice for Ryan Merriam there, having his own little moment. Quinton Price is coming out the pits. He come out in front of Barry Acker. So Quinton Price leading the Pro-Ams now, says Torino. Let's go, Quinton. I'm so excited with how well he's doing. Let's go, honey, she says there as well for Torino. So, great job.
Out of the pit lane for Tidwell. The AM leaders have stayed out here as well, so most of them have anyway. There is Jose Valentin, but look at the speed he's got, and look at the gap he's got as well. It's becoming clear why he qualified on pole here, I think, Jose Valentin, because a lot quicker than JT Sawyer, and look at the gap he's got. He just had to find his way through all the traffic, and now that he has, he is a long way out in front.
He's clearly got pace, hasn't he? Oh dear, Clyde Comfort, what have you been up to, dear sir? Whatever it is, he's sent him back into... Oh,
hello. He's facing the wrong way and didn't know where to go there, really. Someone was coming up at him. Thankfully, nobody hit him. And so he's back to pit lane. But I have to say that most of the drivers who started the race are still in the race, which is more than some people would have feared before the start.
Yeah, I want to see if Bradley Lovins can get to the end here. He's on his one down into Indianapolis. My son throwing me under the bus in YouTube chat there as well. You are salty about TCR's stop line. I am actually. I'm very salty about the fact that we haven't got an updated TCR list on that one. I'm not going to lie. Because some of the new ones are nice, as you're looking at. I wish they'd go off the BTCC touring car list as well, to be blatantly honest, with a hybrid system. That would be absolutely amazing. Quinton Bryce here, that is JT Sawyer in front of us. JT has not pitted. He's trying to keep up, I believe, covering off Jose Valentin, but it's dependent on how much fuel JT and whether or not he needs to lift and coast to get that car to the end here. So it'll be interesting to see for JT, but I want to keep an eye on Mr. Lovins. He is going into the Porsche curves, I believe, at this moment in time.
I'm not sure anyone's going to make it all the way. That'd be impossible, I think, at this stage. Might well only have 4 or 5 more laps to go here, by the way, given the pace we're going at here. We're doing 125-ish. Looks like we're going to get 5 more, actually. In this race, so they'll sneak another one in, but not very many laps remaining here at all, even though we have got 20 minutes to go. And here comes Bradley Lovins. Let's see if he gets it stopped in time. Seen a couple of drivers off in the gravel so far. Does he make it? Looks like he did, yeah. Looks like he made it from there. So he goes into the pit lane. Now, will he come out in the lead, or will Damien Hoverton retake the lead as he held for most of the first stint?
Yeah, I think Horvath may end up taking this position away. He's not stopped at the moment. Average pit lane time 21, but obviously he's got another less fuel on that one. So Damien Horvath and Lovins still cruising down the pit lane, and I think this could be Horvath's lead. Kenny's moving on up, says Greta in YouTube chat. He is at the moment. He's up in 18th, 5th in class for Kenny there. So great job. Lovins is in the pit box. Horvath is got one more chicane to go.
And then he'll be out over the line again to start. 5 laps to go in this race. So would you believe it? We're only going to get, what, 13 laps or something like that. Exit already for Bradley Lovins. He's been going very quickly here, clearly, on the in lap. The extra lap, the shorter pit stop, has got him the lead. Oh, will he hold it into the first chicane? He certainly does. Hoverton couldn't quite hold on to the lead there. So Bradley Lovins, with 2.5 seconds shorter in the box and an extra lap in that first stint, has got the lead by a very small margin.
Yeah, he has. He's not got it by a lot, to be blatantly honest. About half a second at this moment in time for Bradley Lovins, so fair play to him. He went an extra lap, he had a shorter stop, and he come out in front. Jose Valentin has entered into the pit lane.
He has indeed.
Yeah, he has.
Sawyer has too. Yeah. So
be Le Prat, wouldn't it, we're looking for?
I'm not sure. Has Tidwell pitted already? He has, yeah. Tidwell pitted ages ago. He went under our radar entirely. Excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong class. I do excuse me. Bradley, yeah, indeed. Brian LePlat, you were right the first time. I was
Thanks.
not. Through Corvette, he's going to. I'm not entirely sure he's going to be anywhere near Valentin here, but you know, if he is, then that will show me even further that he was being held up by JT Sawyer. I think, though, that Valentin's going to be out in the lead.
It's not moving yet, dear sir. And neither has JT. JT's gone first.
Oh, Valentin's having a long stop here. Valentin's having a very long stop, and it's putting him out of contention for this race. So JT Sawyer is going to be racing Brian LePrat on the exit here. We've got another very close exit of pit lane here. As LePrat comes through on the left-hand side. Is he going to get through? He does. Rips around the outside, and Brian LePrat's going to be in the lead of the AM race again. Meanwhile, in the lead of the overall race, Damien Hoverton is back at the front as he overtakes Bradley Lovins, who came out ahead of him. That was into the second chicane, but look at this. Bradley Lovins is coming back at him on the exit of that second chicane here. The two Porsches into battle, going in towards the Mulsanne corner. He pulls to the outside here, does Lovins. He's not going to get anywhere with that. And so he pulls back into line, but did he go down the inside? No, he'll stay behind.
Yes.
Oh, he doesn't have to go for a move. Damien Hoverton goes wide, and Bradley Lovins is back in the lead.
Horvath got it wrong. Mirror driving on Lovins on that one, and unfortunately for Hervaten, he got it all a little bit Pete Tong and ended up going off the side of the circuit. So Lovins is back in front. Jose Valentin, 4th in class. It goes down to 20th place for Jose Valentin, and he got a 1 minute 41 second stop. What penalty do you reckon he got in the pit lane?
Don't know if it was a penalty or
it was
what happened.
Speeding.
Oh.
40 seconds, yeah, 40 second stop and hold. There's no other reason why he's 40 seconds behind everybody else. So, yeah, I would have thought he got a penalty because he wouldn't have changed tyres because it's wet, soggy and raining. For Jose Valentin, I believe, probably got a speeding penalty.
Well, he has lost exactly 40 seconds, so that does seem to
Thank you very
sense.
much. Thank you.
Well, just leaving options open for we've got an exit route if we're wrong.
All right, well, maybe then, allegedly, he got a speeding penalty. There you go. Allegedly.
It probably is a speeding penalty. Sorry, but yeah, we've seen already that the pit lane entry has caused some problems. So you know it wouldn't be out the realms of possibility at all. Through the Porsche curves go the 2 Porsches in the lead of this race. Bradley Lovings versus Damien Horvath. What a battle this is going to be. 4 to go when they cross the line here. This is going to be a spectacular end to this race. And even these two are not allergic to mistakes by any means. Horvath going wide at the Mulsanne corner there was a bit of a surprise, but it gifted Bradley Lovings the lead effectively there.
Yeah, it did, but at the end of the day, he's now got to try and get back on it again, hasn't he, for Damien Horvath, and he's got to make sure he doesn't make any more mistakes. The only one at the moment we haven't seen make a mistake is Bradley Lovins. Horvath's made him, Merriam's made him, Van Roy's made him, Heron's made him. So currently, the only one that hasn't is Bradley Lovins. So let's see and hope that he doesn't make a mistake on that one.
Oh dear, into the first chicane. They go down to second gear for Horvath. You probably get down to first there, but you wouldn't want to do it for the traction. Just keep it in a higher gear if you possibly can. Lifting off down the S, you certainly wouldn't do that in the dry. And getting on the brakes again, leaving it in a higher gear, leaving it in third for the traction, because this is a really awkward change of direction as you're going over the top of the hill, even in the dry, never mind in the wet as well. Through Teteroos they go, avoiding the puddle on the right hand side, but not going too far to the left either, or they wouldn't have wanted to, because Bradley Lovings has lost a lot of time. That's exactly why they don't want to run too wide through there. Now he's under pressure from Damien Horvath, who's going to close in through the right-hander onto the straight here. He can see Lovings. Oh, and he's going to the right-hand side. There's a car slowing down. Be careful. He's going to go through the middle. 3 wide down the middle here at Le Mans. In the middle of the road. Oh, down in towards the first Mulsanne chicane. He's going to get there. Damien Horvath is back in the lead again. Now he needs to hit his marks here at the first braking zone so that he can hold on to the lead this time, unlike one lap ago. And he does hang on to the lead, although Bradley Lovings is going to come back at him.
Yeah, this is going to be a prize fight. This isn't going to be done yet. There's only going to be this one and 2 more, I think, at the most here, depending on how long they take to get round this lap. It might be, 1 and 1 more, I believe. They probably will only have. So Lovins has only got 1 and 1 more to go, and he's going to try again here going down into the second chicane. Is he going to be able to make this through? He's tucked in right behind his Lovin. This is the closest battle on track. This is the battle for the overlay lead. This is the battle for the pro lead. This is just a battle full stop on that one. So Lovins has got to give it some... Oh, careful. There, Horvath run a little bit wide on that, but Lovins has just got to go. He's got to try and find speed somewhere and try to close this gap up on him.
He does, but by the way, I think he'll have 3 more at the end of this. I think they're going to squeeze an extra lap out of this race, but we'll see when they cross the line. Down in towards Mulsanne corner. Can Horvath get it right this time? He absolutely needs to. Lovings closes, and Horvath was probably a bit conservative on the brakes there just because of what happened that 1 lap ago. Lovings decided to throw it in. He knew that he'd have more confidence there, and so he closes in. He'll have the slipstream again here, and the gap is going to tick below half a second.
Yeah, he is. He's going to close in again now on that run down into Indianapolis. He wants to make sure that Horvath has clearly shown that he's a human, right? So he needs to put pressure on him. And I think if Lovins can just keep putting pressure on Horvath and pushing pressure on him, I believe there might be another mistake coming, but it's who's going to make it. And whether or not they can minimise it. And the Porsche and the rain and doing Porsche things, anything could happen in the Porsche. So stay with him. Put him under. Yeah. That's where Horvath got it wrong. Was that where? I'm sure he got it wrong in Arnage, or was it Indianapolis he got it wrong last lap?
It was Mulsanne corner.
Oh, okay. Neither of them then.
Yeah, but you know, they're all, you know.
But I'm wondering if that's why he's being so careful through that section. Because obviously that's the main sort of stop section, isn't it? Everything else is quite flowy, Porsche curves, you know, all the way through, Dunlop, all the way Tetra Rouge. They're the first main sort of stops on the circuit. So I'm wondering if that's why Horvath is being a little bit precarious or cautious, should we say, through that section. Cloddin's had a crash, unfortunately, and so has Cameron Risley. Pernell Hanalette has also had an incident again.
So plenty going on further down the field as we get to, it's going to be 3 laps to go here. 10 minutes as they cross the line. They're doing 4.5 minute laps. Just about. They're actually going a bit quicker than that. 4:25 from Hoverton last time round.
Oh, Lovins! Got it wrong.
A bit wrong there. Did he get a slowdown or will he survive? If he's got a slowdown, Hoverton's going to be running away with this race, but he hasn't. He holds it on the road. However, he's a second and a half behind.
Yeah, this is what happened to Pernell Hanalette. That's just sliding, unfortunately, for Pernell on that one in that McLaren. Kenneth Cloddin is another one that had an incident on lap 9. He's coming in, I think he's going to miss his braking point. Oh, no. Yeah. Well, yeah, a little bit he did, and the back end went round all at the same time. So that's another McLaren. Pernell in the McLaren. Cameron Risley also in the McLaren. He's taking far too many curbs for me. And that's probably going to be the result. Cameron's also now had a termination here that's involved him jumping straight back to the pits. You're trying to drive this circuit as it's dry, and it isn't going to work. You can't drive it. He was too much on the curbs. He was too much trying to use the curbs, and you're trying to drive it as if it's dry, and it's just not good there, unfortunately, for Cameron Risley. Maybe a little bit more practice in the wet. Awesome advice. Keep it out the curbs, dear sir.
Well, there's risks you've got to take for sure, in a sense of you've got to try and find your quickest way around the circuit while also avoiding all the water, which is the main challenge of driving in these wet weather conditions. Because ideally, you do want to be near the curves as it's the quickest way round. However, as I say, they are building up puddles and they are building up a real slickness to them as well, because they are painted surfaces. So it's a very difficult conundrum to solve, a very difficult balance to strike when you're driving around any circuit, but especially this one where you need lots of good exits onto long straights. Into second Mulsanne chicane go the two leaders. Bradley Lovings has got a huge job in his hands now to try and not only catch Hoverton, but actually pass him once he's there as well. It could prove to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, 1.5 seconds at the moment. Cameron's in the pits, Tarina. I'm sorry. Cameron is in the pits after that incident. Alan Purser in the Lexus wannabe BMW has hit the puddle on the inside. That's not off to a great start. And then, unfortunately, puddle on the outside there, and around he goes. So there we go.
Okay.
Go on.
I think the puddle set him off course, and then he was steering angle was too high, and then he spun around. That was just a simple spin for Modric. I don't even know if he grabbed the puddle, but he certainly grabbed the wall, and that will be a bit of damage for Modric, I'm afraid. Scott Carlson's going to have a big one here into Indianapolis. There's no small accidents down here. He knew that was going wrong from
puddle,
and he grabs the puddle again, slows himself down in the gravel. So thankfully, he avoids the wall. He knew that was coming from quite a long way out, that's for sure. As we go back to Lovings, who is 1.7 seconds behind Damien Hoverton. They go towards 2 laps to go at the end of this one.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to damage limitation there for these guys. Kenneth Cloddin is not having a good one. I've got to be honest, what's the steering in that car? That is straight there. I'm just wondering why we're having so many little bit of a moments here. But again, that back end's coming around, by the way, and it does kind of, it's one of them half spins that you're trying to stop and you can't quite stop it. And since then, Sepulveda's been off and Carlson's had another one, but I'm not going to keep compounding Scott Carlson's misery there, because clearly he's having a rough time in the dark and in the rain. And at the moment, everybody else is a little bit spread out. You can see even in the group table, there's no one really together, and in the overall, well, there's definitely no one together. But, you know, we'll have a chat about Quinton Price, who's leading the Pro-Ams at the moment, up one place.
He's leading the Pro-Ams. He's gaining points on Bradley Tidwell as well. Only 3 of them, admittedly, but it's a good start. He starts today 12 points behind Bradley Tidwell, and he'll be 9 behind if things stay as they are. We're also going to see changes in the AM standings, and by the way, this could be a change of championship lead. It's not quite going to be, actually, but JT Sawyer is going to go from 8 points behind at the start of the day from Gary Spencer to just 3 behind. He's gaining 5 as things stand. Spencer struggled a bit in the second half of this race, and they're all a long way behind Brian LaPrat, who has struck the balance here between speed and staying out of trouble. Now everybody in AM has had some sort of trouble. If it was all down to speed, then Joseph Valentin would have won the race, but he's over 30 seconds, over half a minute back from Brian LaPrat at the moment, because he's not only been speeding on pit road, but also spun in the opening lap too.
Kenny was doing so well. I just picked up on it. He was doing so well, and then all of a sudden, he comes in like an absolute torpedo. The back end goes round. I've got a funny feeling there's a puddle involved in this one, Mr. O'Leary.
Let's see. Or is he just too quick? Yeah, it's just too quick. He tried to save it, and it snaps, and thankfully the gravel saves him from hitting the wall, does it?
Yeah.
I think so. So he'll avoid the barrier, and he'll avoid damage, which is a good thing. Not many people have hit the wall really hard today, which is good, but I suppose you're going at slow speed in these wet weather conditions, so we haven't seen much bodywork flying all over the place, which is a relief, but we've certainly seen our fair share of incidents. There is Kenny Bourgeois on board with the Ford Mustang, and again, another one of the newer cars, like the Corvette, like the McLaren, but the Mustang as well. People won't know these cars inside out in wet weather conditions, like, for example, the Porsche drivers will, as it's been out for longer.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a trial and error situation, is it? The problem is I found out the other day that the practice session can't be taken in the weather conditions if it's on realistic or something like that. So unfortunately, at the moment, you know, it's a bit hard to test. You have to kind of set your own up with the rain conditions that are torrential, and hoping that you remotely get them right and try and go out and practice yourself on that one. Lovins did have that gap down to just under a second. That's why I've kind of picked up on him. It looks like Purser and Svorak are having, I think, unless it's Purser, is he coming up behind Tidwell? He is there as well. My mistake on that one. But JT Sawyer, oh, JT. Curb, puddle, back end, coming round very, very shortly. There we go.
There you go, up on the curb, and he's had to he's quite neatly spun himself back round again, but he only loses at 8th place to a Pro-Am driver. It's Kenny Bourgeois who got him.
Oh, dearie me. And he ain't back on yet either.
This is way too... It's almost like he's used his dry braking point there, Ryan Merriam, who goes very wide indeed, and drops the position here, I believe, to Josh Herring, was it? Or did he...
Yeah.
Was he already behind Herring? I think he was already behind Herring, wasn't he?
It was Cole Modric who was going to be closing in. Unfortunately, didn't. But for Ryan Merriam, there is a back marker, I believe, in front of him at this moment in time. Who actually is that back marker for Ryan Merriam? That's Kenneth Cloddin, who I'm not going to be rude here for Ryan Merriam. Kenneth's had a little bit of a bad one. All right, there we go. He's there. That's he's had a little bit of a rough one. Kenny looks like he's been off the circuit again. Oh, Kenny, don't get it.
One mistake, it does compound into others. It's down the S's, and he's just slid through the corner. Goodness me, there's no grip in those tyres anymore. And he is spun around into the gravel. Down the straight goes Ryan Merriam into the Porsche curves again. We've got just over a minute left, but Dermot Horvatin's in the final corners right now, so he's going to squeeze another lap out this race. 13 laps. For this one then, and he would really rather not have another one, I think, but he's going to. but he's going to have to hold on for Bradley Lovings all the way. It's going to be a very tense final lap.
Yeah, we've got 1 point. Oh, it's coming down quite quick, actually. Lovin seems to be quite quick for his last couple of chicanes. It's down to less than 8 tenths here. Again, another little bit of a slide from Horvath, and the gap's come down to half a second now. These guys are just about literally a minute in to make this one more lap. So if Horvath keeps putting himself under pressure through the final chicane, clearly Bradley is a quicker, then unfortunately for Horvath, he's going to find himself under pressure. But it's one more lap of pressure for Damien Horvath with Bradley Lovins tucked in right behind him.
Absolutely, this is going to be very interesting indeed. Less than a second, 8 tenths of a second under the Dunlop Bridge they go. Down the S's here, Tetra Rouge S's. So tricky, as we've said time and again, in these wet weather conditions. And Horvath's putting it to good use here. He's putting some time into Lovings. He put a couple of attempts in through the S's. Now into Tetra Rouge. This is the real important corner before the Mulsanne straight. And Lovings has got it perfect. He's got it bang on the money. And he closes the margin to below 3/4 of a second. This is going to be a very tense final lap.
Yeah, it definitely is here. Damien Horvath and Bradley Lovins now on their run down the first Mulsanne straight. There's somebody who was down in 24th. Oh, okay, he has got through. He looked like he was stationary on the side of the circuit there. It looks like Cameron Risley and Alan Purser, unfortunately, have had another... No, they can't have had an incident. They were separated. But they've both had another crash in solo there as well. Horvath and Lovins close right in up him as well. This isn't even a small circuit. You can't even sit here and go, Horvath's got 5 corners to go. He hasn't. You know, he's weaving more than my grandma knitting a jumper there at the moment. You know what I mean? Give him some knitting needles and then you'll be able to get a scarf by the time you get down the end of the Mulsanne straight. So keep it one move there, please, Mr. Horvath. And now Lovins is going to go for it.
Yeah, he can't be weaving around too much, and now he certainly won't be as it's side by side. Lovings round the outside, he's going to break very late on the puddles. Oh, he's got it just about stopped in time, but there was no way they were going to get through side by side together there. Horvath goes very deep, he goes through the puddle on the outside as well. He's got a decent exit, but it's not as good as Lovings. He's off the circuit there, Horvath trying to just stay straight here and trying to survive, as they all are. Lovings pulls to the outside here. Is he trying to time his move on the way in towards Mulsanne corner, just to fake it as if he's not going for it? And then will he dive down the inside at the very end here? Will he get late on the brakes because he knows Horvath's made mistakes down here before? He'll put the pressure on him. Lovings goes deep and Horvath goes deep again. Lovings goes on the inside. Damien Horvath makes the same mistake twice in 20 minutes, and Bradley Lovings leads the race on the final lap.
Oh, Horvath made that same mistake again in the same corner. Now this is just opened up to Lovins. He's probably got half of the track remaining. Can Bradley Lovins hold on here? Same mistake for Damien Horvath. Going to be kicking himself, and Lovins has just been handed a lifeline.
Oh, he's getting close, Horvath here, on the way towards Indianapolis. He knows this is a big chance. Down the inside into the back left-hander. Oh, Lovins goes wide, but just to give Horvath some room, who can't get down the inside. He wasn't so strong into Arnaud's lap at the last lap either, and so he's going to struggle again here. Lovins goes wide though, because he preempted the move, and so he's going to get a bad exit. This is the final long straight on this circuit. Anyone who's leading on the way into the Porsche curves is surely going to win this. Horvath is going to close into Lovings on the way down here, but the braking zone isn't long. He can't afford to be behind on the way into the Porsche curves, and he knows it. Lovings brakes early. He's on the inside line, and he holds on for now. This is a dramatic final lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Lovins is in the wall. Lovins in the wall. He's only got a few corners to go. Bradley Lovins is in the wall. Horvath's now tucked him right behind him. Coming through the final section here, and Lovins has got to keep it on the racetrack. He cannot afford to do any more of that here as well.
He's off it in the Corvette corner, but he might be okay now. He might just take a race victory here. Horvath will look at the inside again into this final chicane. They'll both throw it into the corner. Up the curves they go. Horvath throws everything at it, but he spins. And Bradley Lovings wins the race Round 9 of the OGRL Coffee Cup here at Le Mans goes to Bradley Lovings, who gains some ground in the championship as well on Joshua Herring. What a fantastic finale that was. Damien Hoverton just about hangs on to second after throwing absolutely everything at that race win.
Yeah, he did. He had a go. The final part of it for Hoverton, all or nothing. That's what I like to see. He went in over the chicane, hit the sausage curb, and unfortunately the Porsche said no, not this time around. So unfortunately for Hoverton, it is second on the road. But Quinton Price leading the Pro-Ams here.
He certainly is through the final corners. Quinton Price looking to gain some ground in the championship as well. Bradley Tidwell, being 3 positions behind him, will lose 3 points as a result, but he came in with 12, and so Price is going to make some ground but not take the lead as things stand in the Pro-Am Championship. Through the final corners he goes as a spun driver ahead. He's going to gain on Michael Dion, so he will get an extra point out of this. As long as Dion gets ahead of Tidwell, then he'll be okay. But Quinton Price wins in Pro-Am. He was dominant in the final part of the race, just beating Gary Acker by 5 seconds, who he was battling with through most of the first half of the race.
Yeah, he absolutely dominated, and he got 6th overall as well. That was David Van Rooij, and Jeff Sepulveda have had moments on the final lap there. So David Van Rooij did not have a good end, and he's down in 17th at the moment for Van Rooij. But Brian Leprat going to come over and take that AM victory. You can't really argue, can you? He's done so well.
Well, it's a fantastic drive. The gap at the end, I'm just trying to work out, 22 odd seconds. I want to really, considering the opening stint that we had in the AM class. It was so close, so much battling, so exciting. It's a one-man show now as Brian Leprat makes his way through in 13th place. Bradley Tidwell will just about hang on to 10th up the road, by the way, and does indeed, so he'll lose 4 points and 1/3 of his championship lead. Brian Leprat into the final few corners then in the AM class. He's going to be 13th overall, by the way, just in behind Alan Purser. And Brian Leprat wins the AM class at Le Mans despite a slide through the final corner. He is the winner, just ahead of JT Sawyer, who's going to be 15th overall. Gary Spencer, by the way, is going to lose 5 points as things stand. He's trying to reduce it to 4 by overtaking, I think it's Richard Modric, 17th, but I'm not entirely sure. As they continue to battle. They're in the final moments of the final lap here, by the way. They've not yet finished. They are on the lead lap, and they're in the Porsche curves, are they, at the moment? They might just be in the background of this shot, not entirely sure. Here they are, coming out of the Porsche curves now into the final chicanes. Can Spencer do anything here? As Van Rooij is slowing down on the racing line. Not sure if he's run out of fuel, but Spencer might well gain places as a result of this. Oh, off the road for the Porsche as well. Spencer gains 1 place on Van Rooij. He's going to maybe gain another on the Porsche here of Modric, who slows up right in front of him. Pernod Hanouk's trying to gain place as well. He can't quite do it. Spencer will reduce his losses to 4 points today to Gary Spencer, excuse me, to JT Sawyer. And so his 8-point championship lead will be halved to 4.
Yeah, and great results there. This is what happened to Van Rooij. He got it all a little bit wrong. Bouchard's been another one that I think that was actually after the line. And then for some reason, it just seems like Van Rooij slowed up. But I'm wondering, as you say...
Is there an engine sound there?
No.
No, I think he's out of fuel.
I'm at full pelt here, and I can't hear a single bean coming out of David Van Rooij. So great race there as well. We got still out on the racetrack. Matthews is the last car running here as well. Curtis Matthews, fair play for finishing the race, but he had a bit of a rough one.
He certainly has. There's no doubt about that. But he will finish on the lead lap, so it can't be that bad. Because
Nope.
Many did not today into the final corners. And Curtis Matthews will finish in 24th. We'll have the results up for you and some post-race interviews as well. And looking forward to hearing from Lovings and Hoverton, especially on their last lap battle. So we'll do that in a moment after we have a look at these results. Bradley Lovings wins in the end. The gap is going to look large compared to what it is in reality. 7.5 seconds from Damien Horberton, who only just finished ahead of Josh Herring in the end. Ryan Merriam and Cole Modric were the only others within a minute, such is the difficulty of this circuit in the rain. Quentin Price was the Pro-Am winner in 6th. Michael Dion 7th, ahead of Barry Acker, Jeremy Cheney and Bradley Tidwell, who holds on to the Pro-Am Championship lead by finishing in 10th. Dan Sporak finishes in 11th ahead of Alan Purser, with the Am winner Brian the Pratt 13th. Kenny Bourgeois and DT Stoyer ran at the top 15. Pole sitter in Am, Jose Valentin, finishes 16th, but Aviv Hollinger and Rick Modric, who was in 18th place. In 19th, it's going to be Gary Spencer, who just about holds on to his championship lead as well, although it just halved today. It was Pernod Hanno in the final spot inside the top 20. Mike Elliott, Cody Brunt and Curtis Matthews finished on the lead lap. David Van Roy couldn't get pushed over the line. He was one lap down along with Kenneth Cloddin, Jonathan Williams, Cameron Risley, Scott Carlson. Jeff Sepulveda was 2 down. Philip de la Cruz suddenly 6 down in the end. Clyde Comfer 7 down. With Justin Cook 10 down. Bill Backer 11 down. George Parfitt didn't make it through the first lap. And Brian Hoskins didn't start the first lap. So,
no.
Are your 35 drivers in today's race? Let's have a chat first of all to Bradley Lovings, who finishes first. Welcome, Bradley. Good to have you with us. And congratulations on the win. Tell us about that last lap and the amazing battle you had with Damien Horberton.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Damien. He worked with me a little bit yesterday, so I was just going to follow him in, take a P2. He got a little loose in about the middle sector and opened up a hole, and I sent it, man. I got a little wheel damage there. I tapped the wall once I got in front of him trying to push it, and just took it across the line with wheel damage. I thought he was going to get me there at the end, but he spun out or something on that first chicane, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just giving it everything, just spun out in the end behind you. What was your plan, though, going onto the final lap? Surely you can't have just been waiting and sitting there in second place just to finish second. You know, you must have had a plan for trying to overtake him, didn't you?
My plan was to see if he messed up, man. It's hard to force something in this rain on the last lap. Better just to take a P2 than risk it. But, if he ever opened up the door, I was going to send it, try to send it on the outside going into the little kink after that second straight. He hung on the inside and, kind of just let him take the corner since it was his to begin with. So just trying to ride him as close as I can. A little bit of pressure, man. That's about all you can do.
That's absolutely fair enough. Congratulations, though. And is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before I let you go?
I give a shout out to my wife, man. I got a little baby. She turns 1 on Tuesday. So shout out to little Lily. Shout out to Damien for helping me a little bit on the track. I haven't turned any laps here until the other day. So big learning curve, especially with the wet, and just all the sponsors and the Discord, OGRL, and JPBroadcasting, man. You guys are great.
Again, Brad, congratulations on the win, and thanks for coming to chat to us as well.
Yeah, man. Porsche 1, 2, 3. All these other guys want to go McLaren. They should have stuck with the Porky, baby. See y'all later.
No, Porsche does Porsche things, Brad. It could kill you as soon as look at you, so don't start that one.
But she treats you well if you can handle her.
You got a Netflix and chiller, mate. You got a Netflix and chiller.
Heard that. See y'all later.
See you later.
Bradley Lovings, the winner of the race. Sometimes the one of the oldest cars in the race, it's turned out to be the best today. There you go. Damien Horberton also in the Porsche, finishing second. Welcome in, Damien. Good to have you with us. I mean, you must be disappointed to have missed out on the win, but just tell us about that final lap from your perspective.
No, it was everything started in the chicane, in the final chicane, and the penultimate lap. I went through really slowly, didn't notice it, and I just saw 2 big round headlights. And I knew, like, okay, it's on now. And it kind of, it went well. We traded spots. And then in the Mulsanne corner, I went far too deep, broke too much, got the ABS locked. And then it was all about, trying to catch back up and try to send it somewhere. he hit the wall. I started celebrating because I knew his wheel was bent. He went wide, got a penalty, and I was like, yes. Like, I've got this. And then final chicane, broke too much, downshifted, and went around. So, but congrats to him. I mean, he did everything he had to do. He capitalized on all my mistakes, and he's the winner. But I'll take this P2 with me.
So it's still a good result. I mean, what were you expecting from today's race when you knew that it was going to be Le Mans, you knew that it was going to be in the dark, you knew that it was going to be raining, and there's 35 of you to begin with? What were your expectations?
I mean, my expectations was a win, because I like rain, I like Le Mans, I like dark, I like driving in the night. Porsche is good in the rain, so I expected to win. At the start of a week, then some people started doing really good times, and then it was like, okay, yeah, let's just finish, and a finish will be a good result. And then P4 in quali could have been better. In the end, it was all to win. I'm trying to chase Venro in the championship, but wasn't this week.
No, well, fair enough. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Well, to you guys, the two best broadcasters on the service. Of course, Bradley, Dion, and the lads for putting this together, and the French weather for giving me a shot to win.
I don't think anyone's thanked weather before when I've done one of these, so that's the first. Congratulations on second place today, Damien, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Damien Hoverton there, the second place driver. Tonight, tonight, keep saying tonight, it's not tonight, it's all afternoon or morning, depending on where you are. Josh Herring now welcoming, or joining us, I should say, from third place. Welcome, Josh. Good to have you with us as well. 3 Porsches in the top 3. Says it all, really, about the car in these conditions, but how did you find them on in the wet today?
Oh, the car was great until about the last 4 or 5 laps. I started to kind of lose it a little bit. Ryan was catching me, and I wish I would have been pushing harder because I might have got around Damien, but good race.
And still a good result for yourself again in terms of the championship. I don't believe you finished, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe you finished lower than third so far this season. How do you feel generally how it's gone the first 9 races?
I'm extremely pleased with the results. I think I might have won 4th place, been on the podium just about every other time, and a win. So it's going great. Got to keep it going. I'm glad that I didn't have to drop this week. It takes a little pressure off the next few races.
Absolutely, I can imagine. Still a few more to go, of course, before our couple of weeks break. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Oh, yeah, all my family and friends that help support me or watch or just keep me going in the right direction. I love racing with this league. I love watching the replays back with you guys. You do a great job keeping it exciting. I hope we could see pretty good with the nighttime race. I know that's tough to replay.
I did turn the brightness up for you, mate. All right.
Yeah.
I tried to get camera angles for work, but we had night and spray. It wasn't the most easiest one to bring you everything.
Oh, I'm sure, but
we did try.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much for joining us, Josh, and congratulations on the podium again.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Josh Herring there in third. And then we'll go down to AM, where Brian LaPlatte took the victory today. Welcome in, Brian. Good to have you with us. And congratulations on winning in the AM class here this morning. How did you find Le Mans in the rain? And how did you find that battle, especially in the first half an hour, where there was, at one stage, about 4 of you covered by a second in the AM class?
It was a good race. It was really, really hard to see in that spray. I'll have to say that you had to white knuckle it pretty much the whole time. I went around in the one corner, but I was able to save it. Not mess up the car too bad. So after that, I just tried to keep it on the track and keep a decent lap time.
Yeah, and we said at the start of this that it was going to be a little bit about survival, but also sort of recovering from issues the best as possible. Just what were you expecting from this race? Were you going into this sort of accepting that you might make a mistake at some point and have to recover from it, or were you just trying to survive and get through this without any mistakes?
A little bit of both. I knew there'd probably be a mistake. I was trying my best not to get in one. But with this many cars on track and the rain and at night, it was pretty much inevitable that I was probably going to get in one.
Sometimes you can't
I
help
don't
it.
think it was for everybody though, Ewan, wasn't it? We discussed that. I think at least one person, everybody made a mistake. Brian, nobody went the whole race without making a mistake.
Yeah,
That's
so.
what I figured. I'm going to sit back and watch it now and drink some more coffee.
Oh, of course, yeah. Just quickly before you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just my old lady, Bobby. She puts up with me racing this all the time, so I have to give her that.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. You got the win today, so we're all worth it. Congratulations on that, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
All right, thank you guys for broadcasting.
Thanks very much, Brian LaPratt there, the winner in tonight, not tonight, today, or this afternoon, or the morning, depending on where you are in the world. That was a bit of fun. Yeah, not going to turn around your opinion about Le Mans anytime soon, James, but we can settle on that was a good race, and thoroughly enjoyed that finale between Bradley Lovings and Damien Hoverton. Great battle. The result sheet is going to show a 7.5 second gap, but the race couldn't be further from that.
Yeah, I think the results are, as you say, unjust for what the racing was. I'll give you it. The rain and the dark sparked up a good race. I'm not saying it wasn't a good race, and there were some great moments on the race circuit, and I fully get that. I think these guys have done an exceptional job. You're right, it hasn't changed my opinion on the racetrack whatsoever. But I do think that the racing was really good. And we said at the beginning, survive, and you score points. And that is sort of evident with Dan Svorek, who was up 22 places. I said somebody's going to get a 20-place gain. Dan Svorek did, up 22. Rick Modric up 10. Curtis Matthews up 11. So there were a lot of gainers in there, and that was literally because they did the one thing that they needed to do, and that's survive the race.
Absolutely, that's what it was about, and it was a lot of fun to watch as well. All three championship leaders take a hit today in points, but they all retain their championship leads. Josh Herring still has the largest, of course. Bradley Tidwell loses about a third of his, and JT Sawyer gains on Gary Spencer's lead to reduce it by more than a half. So all of the championship leaders are what's the phrase? I don't know what the phrase is, but they've just lost some points. and so it gets a bit closer going into next week. We'll be back live again, of course, on the JPB YouTube channel from Phillip Island on the 6th of October, as always, from 2 p.m. in the UK and from 9 a.m. Eastern Time on the US East Coast. So a big thanks to everyone who's been tuned in from that time here this morning or afternoon. This has been the OGRL Coffee Cup Round 9 here from Le Mans. I've been Neil Leary alongside James Parfitt, and until we see you next week down under, it's goodbye for now.